Well, so many leaders use the word motivate and inspire interchangeably. Both are important, but there is a difference. Many leaders motivate, but the best leaders inspire. We created this masterclass to complement the teaching in my new book, Winning the War in Your Mind, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And I'm so thankful for the way this book is impacting leaders all over the world. In fact, a couple of reviews from Amazon that meant a lot to me. Alyssa said this is the top 5 books of all books that she's ever read. Alyssa, I love hearing that. And Philip wrote on his review, Craig Groeschel's approach on the battle in our mind is so refreshing and like nothing I've ever read before. The principles he writes are so easy to understand, and this is a topic I've needed to read about for years, and I finally feel like I'm moving in the right direction and making progress. Craig, you've hit a grand slam on this one. Philip, that makes me so happy because we know that our life and leadership is always moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. And so, as leaders, we are going to win the war in our mind. As leaders, we all want to motivate our teams to do more. We all want to inspire them to accomplish our mission. We want to motivate and we want to inspire. Notice those 2 action words, motivate, inspire. I don't know if you've noticed this, but most leaders use the words motivate and inspire interchangeably. While both are very, very important, I want to point out that there is a difference between these 2 words. And that's why I want to show you why the best leaders don't just think about motivating their teams. The best leaders want to inspire. Now, to be crystal clear, there is nothing wrong with motivating. Motivate, 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 motivate. I hope you're a very motivational leader. But motivating should be an early goal in developing leaders with a way more important goal to inspire. And let's talk about the difference and why it matters so much. Let's start with motivation. What is the root word of motivation? The root word for motivation is motive. In other words, to take an action or to motivate, you need an external motive. A lot of people are motivated by the paycheck, right? If you show up for work, do your job, I'll motivate you with a paycheck. But if you don't show up to work and don't do your job, you don't get the paycheck. There's an external motivation that brings about the desired result. There's an external force pushing you or pushing your team toward movement or progress. The root of motivation is motive. Inspiration, though, it has a different root. The root of inspiration or inspire is in spirit, in spirit. In other words, motivation comes from some external motive. Inspiration, though, comes from within. So motivation pushes our team, but inspiration pulls our team. Now, to explain it clearly, I promise this is not a play on words. The best leaders, remember, always think differently. If you ever find yourself like sick and tired of trying to keep your people motivated, there's a reason. What's the reason? Well, it's exhausting to continually try to find some external motivator to keep pushing these people to do something they don't really want to do. And this might be one of the reasons why you're so worn out and frustrated as a leader. If that's what you have, let me just kind of push you a little bit. It might be worth acknowledging that if you're constantly having to motivate the people around you, maybe it's because you have the wrong people around you. So, if that's the case, the next logical idea that leaders tend to believe is this, okay, instead of trying to motivate our team, we should look for self-motivated leaders. Yes, 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 and yes. That's a great start, but it's still very incomplete. Now, when I use the word inspire, you're probably thinking like, okay, I got to do this inspirational rah-rah speech. You might visualize the coach at halftime saying, give it your all, take the hill, conquer your enemy. You might think of Martin Luther King Jr., I've got a dream. You might see Mel Gibson with his blue face going, freedom. Now, your next thought may be, That's not me. I'm not an inspirational speaker. And the truth is, most people aren't. If you're not, I've got really, really good news for you, that charismatic speeches, they're only one tool used by inspirational leaders. The good news is, it's not the most common tool, nor is it the most important tool. In fact, we've found that inspirational leadership comes in many different shapes and sizes. Bain did some research where they surveyed 2,000 employees, and what they found were 33 different consistent attitudes that inspire team members. We'll link to these 33 different attributes in the notes. I'll give you a few of them. If you just have an optimistic outlook, guess what? That's very inspirational to your team members. If you just say, we can do more, we believe that the best is yet to come, that is very inspirational. Another of the 33 is a posture of humility. What does pride do? If you've ever worked for someone who's narcissistic and arrogant and prideful, that's very discouraging. But a humble leader who believes in their team, that's inspirational. The most inspirational trait, are you ready for it? Is known as a leader who is centered. A centered leader. What does it mean to be centered? It simply means you're fully engaged in the mission of your organization. It's when you're leading from a state of assuredness. It's when you're internally aligned. What is a centered leader? One who's guided by values, driven by purpose, obsessed by mission. In other words, if I can make it really, 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 really simple, the best way to inspire others is to be inspired yourself. The best way to inspire others is not to bring some external motivation, but to bring this internal pull of this is why you care so much. And if you're inspired about your mission, just your very centeredness, your values, the purpose, your obsession will bring others along with you to believe in and give their lives to the cause that you're giving your life to. So let's do this. Let's work to stay inspired. Remind yourself over and over again, tell yourself, change your thinking because your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. If you don't like where your thoughts are taking you, change the way you think. Tell yourself, you have influence. You're a leader. Like never before, our world needs humble, confident, bold, integrity-infused and centered leaders. Your leadership matters. It really does. You have God-given strengths, burning passions, innovative ideas, and the ability and responsibility to impact a world desperate for hope and healing. So what will you do? You'll change the way you think. You don't control people, you believe in them. You empower them, and you can do exponentially more together than you ever could on your own. You don't spend what you have, you invest your resources expecting an exponential return. When you have problems, you think differently. Because you're a leader, you don't just see problems, you see opportunities. Leaders solve problems. And you don't just motivate, but you pull the best out of those around you. You cast vision and inspire others to create a brighter future, to right wrongs, to fight for what is good, what is right, and what is true. Why? Because we are leaders.